Hello and welcome to 5 Question Friday. My name is Joe Silva and I'm the Vice President of Sales for Kokua Technologies. Kokua Technologies is a service company that happens to provide technology services. How do we do this? Is by providing full service support, maintenance, and protection to companies the size of 1 up to multi-million dollar projects migrating 60 plus locations to the cloud and everything in between. Kokua realizes that our local business community still really needs our support. So 5 Question Friday is a way for you and I both to learn a bit more about these businesses and how we can help them. One way that we can help is by liking and sharing this post. Also, by clicking the link that's included. By doing so, it'll enter you into a drawing for a reward from another local business. So please, sit back and enjoy 5 Question Friday. And by the way, remember, locals only.
Hello again. Today, we have Matt Rahn of the Rahn Companies. For those who aren't familiar with Matt, Matt's been in business since right out of high school. His company was featured on Sell This House in October of 2020. Matt is a proud South Jersey resident. He's very involved with community outreach events, including the upcoming Recent Remembrance, and that's on December 4th at the Gloucester County Veterans Cemetery. He's also on the board for the Builders League of South Jersey and the Keystone chapter of the Community Association Institute of PA and Delaware Valley. Matt is involved in all aspects of the business and frankly has been the driving force in the company's success and growth. So Matt, thank you so much for being here today for 5 Question Friday.
Hey Joe, thanks for having me on today. It's great to speak with you.
Awesome. That's my absolute pleasure, man. I'm really glad I can get you on here. I know you're a busy guy. You're all over the place running your companies and doing a lot of real estate type transactions, and you're everywhere, all over the country actually right now. So it's very awesome. And again, I really appreciate it, and I think the viewers are going to appreciate learning about a bit about more about you and your company. So, and those who know will know that definitely your company's not like any others. What would you say is unique about your company?
So there's a few things that I think make our company a little bit different than others out there. I guess first on the service side, I would say our company's a little bit unique because it's made up of a few individual companies that we partnered together in order to provide our clients with a full service experience. And what that means is we have separate divisions or separate companies that specialize in different tasks, and they allow us to offer our clients, who are typically property managers or facility managers, a one-source solution for all their exterior needs. So instead of having multiple vendors, they can rely on having one contractor they trust to take care of all their exterior needs.
Wow, Matt, that's awesome. That definitely does sound unique. I know, I don't, as far as I know, and I'm not in your space, obviously, but from the business side, I've seen not a lot of companies are taking that type of approach. So that's awesome, man. I can see where that would definitely put you kind of outside of the box for a lot of companies, and that's great. You've been in business since out of high school, right? So I mean, you've definitely kind of you've had a lot of experience in things to do and not to do. So maybe what would you recommend to some of the guys just starting out there, gals starting out there in business? What book should every business owner read?
So there's several books. I guess I'll start with, I wasn't always a big reader, but as you start to try and grow a business and you realize that there's all these skills that you may or may not have just because you're good at one thing and you start a business in that area, to really be a business owner, you have to be well-rounded. So really being able to read and comprehend what you're reading and kind of teach yourself is invaluable, and I would say pretty much necessary in order to be successful. So there's Audible now and audiobooks, things like that, or definitely a time saver or a time hack per se, that you can listen to an audiobook while you're working out or doing other things and kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But I am a big fan of actually reading books now because I feel like you get more out of it. There's been a couple books I feel like maybe that have been game changers for me, so to say, and I think they're just general good books overall. So the first would be How to Win Friends and Influence People. The the title might sound like a little bit brash, but it's actually a really good book. And it just talks about how people have different personality types, how people like to be communicated to. And, we're all humans. And if you're in a business, people are your biggest asset. So I think being able to understand and communicate with your people is definitely key. My second book outside of that, I guess I would say, it isn't necessarily a book, it's more of a program or a lifestyle, but there's a group of us, I know you were involved in this as well, Joe, that did 75 Hard. So there's a book, 75 Hard. It explains the program, explains the system. Like I said, it's maybe not necessarily about the book, but taking the system and the process that's in the book and implementing it into your life. It'll really teach you a lot about yourself and teach you some real hard skills that I think are necessary to kind of toughen your mind and get you disciplined to what you need to do to be a successful business owner.
And I couldn't agree with you more. Both of those, the book, both books, and yes, 75 Hard, absolutely, man. That's some great advice to business owners. I couldn't endorse that anymore. But let me ask you a question. If you could actually then speak to your younger self and give yourself advice just starting out, what advice would you give to you?
So that's a good question, right? Everybody wants to maybe look back and what I could have done different or what I learned. I think number one, what you said there, I kind of started with, I wasn't necessarily always a big reader. I didn't necessarily like to read books. I was kind of like a busybody, couldn't sit still. But, if I would have started at an earlier age, reading some of these books and starting to learn some of these skills that maybe you don't necessarily learn in a classroom setting, probably would have put myself a little bit farther ahead and maybe made my journey a little smoother along the way. So I would say that, number one. And number two, I think, is just making sure you're in the rooms with the right people and you're connecting yourself with people that are on the right mission to you. When you're younger, you're in your cliques or your groups, and it's more about who you're friends with or who's popular or who's into the sport team that you're on. And as you get older, you seem to separate, the people that are mission driven or have a purpose in their life and the people that are kind of just floating through life. And, people always say you're a product of the people you surround yourself with. And, the older I get or the more experience I get, I feel like that couldn't be more true.
Man, Matt, you're again, same thing, right on the money for me. I agree with you 1,000,000%. That is great advice that I absolutely wish I could give to myself. We do learn those things along the way, but at least we learn it. That's the main thing. So that's awesome. Excellent advice. I wish I could give myself the same. Well, let me stepping back, keep back in that same kind of, you're still back in that same space of your younger self. When you were there, what inspired you to actually start your business in the first place? And do you still feel the same way about it today?
Yeah. So I guess there's a couple of aspects. I'll just start at a young age. So when I was 4 or 5 years old, one of my neighbors that I was good friends with, his dad had like a small asphalt paving company, and he would bring equipment home on the weekends or whatever he was using on the jobs. And he would let us ride it around in the backyard. And we thought it was the greatest thing ever to ride his tractors and the different equipment around. So my mom has like a piece of paper where they ask you in like first or second grade what you want to be when you grow up. And I said, I want to own my own construction company. Then you get older and you get into high school and you kind of don't know what to do. And everybody's, oh, you got to go to college, you got to pick a career. And for me, starting a business wasn't even an idea or really, like a choice. It was just like, oh, what are you going to do in college? I never really was surrounded by a lot of people that own businesses that I was closely connected to. So I was just like, I don't understand how people would even go about starting a business. So my journey really started with just going to work every day and, wanting to ask questions, wanting to learn more. And eventually that led me to a path that, I guess the universe had for me, God had for me, whatever your faith is there. But it definitely put me in a path that I don't think that I would have gotten to if I wasn't so, committed to just showing up to work every day, doing the best I can, asking questions and learning more. It kind of took me from being a laborer to being able to run a crew, to going in the office, to becoming an estimator, becoming a project manager, becoming vice president of another company before I actually was able to go out on my own and start my own company.
That's amazing. Do you still feel the same way then about, obviously at an early age, you were inspired, right? I mean, that didn't leave you, which was fantastic. Do you still feel the same way about it?
Yeah, I mean, I love what I do. I would say, I guess, the inspiration was for me was just that constant improvement. So, once I got involved in the construction field and even at the lower level, I just always was passionate about it, wanted to learn more. And, even now I'm passionate about, self-development, getting a little bit better each day. So I'm always just trying to get to that next level and learn more. And I just, owning a business, I enjoy the experience. Every day is a little bit different, new challenges all the time. You have a lot of lows, but you have a lot of wins as well. And, I just enjoy the journey.
Yeah, it sounds like you had the three C's for your life. You had the curiosity, you had a calling, and you're a man of character. So because of that, you were pulled in that direction, and you really didn't deviate, man. And you are where you are, and you have what you have today for those reasons, man, because of you and what you believed in, what you knew, what you really felt you wanted to do early on, and you just followed it, man. You had that, and it's amazing. Not a lot of people, not enough people, do that, right? Stay on that same path. So good for you, man. That's great. So off the topic of your business for a second, or maybe not, but just a fun question. What book or movie have you recently read or seen, and would you recommend it? And if so, why would you recommend it?
So the book, I guess I go back to the first answer, not to be repetitive, but definitely a 75 hard program. I just seen a way that's affected a lot of people in their lives. Other than that, I guess movies, not really a big movie person, but I would say more documentaries. So, on Netflix, there's a lot of good documentaries. And I recently watched one, I think it's called Knife and Fork, and it's about people and their eating habits and society and the foods that we eat and all these things and how they really affect your body. And not everybody's always fully aware, or things get clouded because of different people's medical advice or different prescriptions that they come up to cure different ailments, when if you look at really the science of it, just by eating healthy and eating the right way, you could really prevent or even help solve a lot of these problems. So that's been, super impactful for me, because I have a new daughter. Well, not new, she's 2.5 now. Seems like time's flying, but I want to make sure that I'm healthy and I can be around a long time for her. I recently had lost my dad like about a year ago, and that was like very traumatic for me. Nobody wants to lose a parent. So I want to make sure, that I'm doing what I can now to keep myself healthy, so that, I can be in a good place for my daughter.
And I can 100% relate to that. I lost my father about 10 years ago, and it was due to ultimately mobility type issues, where it started from. And I said the same thing, to my kid. I lost about 60 pounds at one point, because I wanted to do the same thing that you're saying right now, man. And that's fantastic that you're seeing that with her at such an early age. And yeah, nutrition, diet is everything. It's the main, it's so key to that for that happening. So that is, man, that's awesome stuff. And you know what, man, I think you keep going the way you're going, and I know within the groups that we touch on, and everyone else I talk to that knows you, man, I think the next documentary might be on Matt Rahn and the Rahn companies, and you're, from the beginning to where you are someday down the road, which I don't doubt for a second is going to be amazing, because again, it's who you are and what you do and what you do for other people as well. So Matt, so man, that's 5 questions I got. This 5 questions Friday. I really appreciate you being on today. It's been wonderful. Let me ask you real quick, or for the people viewing, where can they get in touch with you, man? Social media, whatever you want to say, how they can reach you, website, phone, whatever you want to put out there. Where can they get you?
Yeah. So thanks again, Joe, for, having me on, and, you're one of those key people in my network that I talk about. So, thank you for, helping me to get where I'm supposed to be. And, if people want to connect with me, reach out to me. They can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, or you can go to our website, www.theroncompanies.com.
Awesome, Matt. And for anyone who does not know, if you need any as Matt said, basically anything you're looking at for a construction type situation, landscaping, hardscaping, etc. Please do yourself a favor and reach out to Matt. He's got a wonderful organization, wonderful people that are within, and you know as well as I today, or as most people should know, it's very hard to get at times good service, and that is the one thing that Kokua is all about. And I know that the Rahn companies, Matt and the Rahn companies, is definitely good service. So thanks again, Matt. Really appreciate it. Again, everyone, please reach out to Matt. And that's it for 5 Question Friday. Once again, thank you everyone for watching. And again, we're here to support locals, so locals only. Thank you.